It's time to take one last look at our desert kingdom, this 200-day world that I am so proud of. We're going to hang out today. We're just going to walk around and I'll show you everything that we ended up getting to do in 200 days. And if you're down for that, consider leaving this on in the background. I'm going to have some nice soothing music to go around with this tour, and I can't wait to show you everything that we ended up doing. We're going to start off with one of my favorite builds out of the 200 days in this desert. We have a custom ship, and there's a bit of lore behind this ship as well. The idea is to have this kingdom be connected with a lore storyline with the Hardcore Kingdom, which you may have seen on the main channel, or maybe you've seen the tour on this second channel. But the idea is to have a northern kind of Viking or Nordic ship that's coming here and it's exchanging spruce wood for the glass that's being smelted over here at the Desert Kingdom. And we used a wonderful mix of different woods here. We have some oak on the sides and some jungle and spruce, and we have some crimson trapdoors. And yes, as it being my own design, my own sailboat, as someone that's really trying to get better at doing this and loves having them in my world, I'm really happy with this design. I think that in particular, it looks really good. If we look at it from the side right here, and you can really just see the custom shape and the curves of the boat, and it just looks awesome in my personal opinion. And we're gonna get around to our custom desert beach too, but I think that we're gonna continue the tour over in this direction, over to our Stutterer house, which I think is my favorite build of the 200 days. One of my favorite builds that I've ever made. I ended up making this in our creative world beforehand, and it's one of my first times using hanging side signs as well. I know they've been in the game for a very long time, but I just never really ended up getting to use them. And so we have a wonderful kind of red roof with all the acacia and some granite right here with some leaves hanging off of the sides. And we have rose bushes giving that extra flare of red all along the side here too. And it's worth taking a quick look at how I ended up decorating our beach line over next to our custom dock in a very cool building that you can see over here, which we'll get to in a little bit of time. But we have some shrubs right here and then some vines giving that extra greenery. And one thing to give a little bit of like some beach puddles and that sort of thing, where you could find some little sea critters, is I ended up waterlogging a bunch of stairs over here along the entire beach. And it really gives that vibe of a really fully detailed beach, in my personal opinion, as opposed to the desert's normal one, right? And we also have some birch buttons here around, which are kind of rocks that fit in nicely with their color to the sand, in my personal opinion. And we have some soil and a couple of spruce leaves right here, and then moss and gravel going around the entire way, which really helps the lushness of the coastline kind of creep up to the desert. But anyway, our house over here has a really cool sloped roof, which I spent a lot of time in a creative world making it the way that it is. And we can take a quick look up and then head inside the door, where we have a little bit of an interior. These pickaxes right here are the first ever diamond pickaxes. We ended up saving them, along with our iron leggings right here, which is the first pair of iron leggings that we ended up having. You'll see that we have tons of different labels all over, really helping me sort the inventory and whatnot, and a little bit of a composter, which I've been using to get tons of bone meal to make the desert look lush. We have our anvil and an enchanted bookshelf right here, and we also happen to have a second floor for our cabin as well. You can head up the ladder, and you'll see we have an enchanting station. Tons of bookshelves and our enchanting table, and we have our best items. Over in this chest right here, we do have ores in a different place, but you'll see in my hand right here, I ended up doing something new. I have a comment of the day, where we have tons of different questions from lots of different YouTubers and fans of the desert and all of that sort of stuff. And it's been really fun kind of just getting to interact and get to know you all on a better level and not have to cut to every single little audio wavelength and whatnot. And also doing this has been a really great experience of trying to become a better commentator and just speak from the hip and not have to worry so much about what's coming out of my yappers. And so we have a brewing station right here, and it's nice. It fits in, and you can see there's an incredible ton of utility that's been fit into our stutter house. And that's what I needed. I wanted to get on expanding very quickly. We can head on outside, and this is the back end of our house here. It looks cool. We ended up using more hanging signs right here too. And then we have some azalea bushes, a nice little wall, and you're going to notice that I used a very particular block pattern for a lot of the outer linings of our houses here, and then the walls in this area. And what that is we have some coarse dirt, we have some granite, some mud bricks, and some spruce slabs. Of course, I ended up doing some more stairs along the entire coastline, and we're going to have some moss on the ends too. And it goes all around the kingdom, and it looks really wonderful. You'll see what it looks like as we continue to get up here. Before we head up the stairs, we're actually going to head on down. We have a little bit of a fishing area, maybe a little swimming area if you really just need to go and take a dip. But there's a little bit of extra lore to this area too. You want to be careful. You might want to check out the area before you let your kids come and hang out, because there's going to be TNT, which if the kids messed around too much, might become a problem for the people that are living at Slip's Cottage, as I rented out this summer, because we're going to be heading to a brand new world at the Lotus SMP very soon, and I'm very excited for that. And so we can head secretly underwater. Only a couple of people know about this in the Desert Kingdom, but we have a little bit of a secret smelting area. We have moss, and we have some furnaces here. And if we need to wash our hands from all the soot and whatnot, we got some wash rags, and we have a place where you can wash our hands. And we have some swords right here. This is from an enchanted some enchanted ruined portals, one of which is actually over there. And you can see the ships in the background, and all of the fish are swimming around, and it's really cool to have a place underwater. We of course have some extra pots and plants right here to give some extra color, and I just love the way that this place looks during the daytime. You can see that sun shines down through the glass and illuminates the entire area and the ocean around us, and I love it. I didn't want to add anything more. I just wanted something simple right here. Nice secret underground hideaway, a smelting area that only certain people in the Desert Kingdom know of. And so, I didn't have enough time to fix up this little place right here, and honestly, I didn't know if I was going to, but we can head back up the ladder here as the sun starts to set, and we're gonna head up the stairs, which I've lined with jungle fences right here, and we spared no expense to detail. All around here we have these little puddles where all of the sea critters can hang out, and you can go puddle hunting and whatnot, and more stones in the sand right there, more rocks as we head up that into the heart of the kingdom that we have, which, as you can see, the path really makes all the difference in the world, especially having the water. You actually walk on it. I know my game sound is down, but you can kind of hear the puddles as you walk past them, and I just love it. Right here we have my first ever attempt at a custom tree with acacia wood, and I really like how it came out. We have a couple of barrels right here and some buttons in our furnace. It's outlined with some spruce slabs, and we have a way worse tree right over there. I'll show you it in just 1 second, but we're gonna sleep for the night. Hopefully it doesn't end up raining. Oftentimes I seem to have bad luck when giving these tours and it just starts raining, which would definitely be no fun in the desert. But we spared no expense on transporting tons of grass blocks way down here in the kingdom, where there's a village over there. You can kind of see it outlined. The only grass was way down there, so we had to have tons of dirt trails going all the way in this direction in order to get this place into grassland, but it makes all the difference, and we have it very lush here. And we have a wonderful little wagon that is in disrepair. As you can see, it's kind of part of the history of this world. And I love placing these guys in here. They really give your world so much life. And so I really consider just fitting tons of small little builds in. It makes all the difference, I think. We have an awesome custom barn that I ended up making, which I'm not getting too close to because we have way too many animals in here. But we needed tons of leather for bookshelves, and so I ended up breeding way too many animals. And so we can head up on here to what I don't like this tree except for from like this angle right here. I know it's so unique, it just spikes up, and it goes with the medieval, or sort of not the medieval, but like the fantasy vibe that we have going on here. But from this direction right here, it doesn't look good. So yeah, this one could have come out a whole ton better. But right here we have a little bit of a barn. As you can see, the grass is still continuing to fill into the area here, which I then ended up bone mealing, and then in order to get all of the grass, and then I personally put down a couple of extra flowers as well. But right here, if we open up our trapdoor, you're going to notice we have our best friend who's going to be making the journey with us to our new home. This is Stella, and she's so cute, and she's been here with us for about 100 or so days, and she's my best friend. But we have tons of acacia trapdoors right here, and then a bunch of different stone, sandstone variants to make this place come to life, and some vines, and once again, a couple of more hanging signs right there, and it makes a big difference. We have our second ever house right here of the 200 days. Unfortunately, it's the only other house that we had time to get to, but I just ran out of time to continue in this world, although I'm so happy with the progress that we made. We ended up using some wood types that I had never used before, and some blocks that I had never used before, and that was kind of part of the point. I've never really used too much terracotta, and I've not ever used the bamboo mosaic block, and I've never used packed mud as any sort of a decorational item on a building. I've used packed mud for hats and that sort of thing, but I just wanted to see what I could do. And it's very lush on the outside. I was going to do more with this area, but I only had 200 days to show what we had. But I did make sure to get an interior. This is our first ever diamond shovel of the playthrough. And then we have some banners and some storage and some chiseled bookshelves right here with a bunch of different books that I wanted to use for decoration. A little bit of storage right here. And then very much the same theme right here. A little bit of a crafting area, a little bit of storage, and then our chiseled bookshelves to just give some extra color and vibrancy. And I really just threw this one together. I had almost no time to put this interior together. I think we're on day like 198 or something like that. So I just wanted to make sure that it felt as filled in as it could. And before we take a look at our custom pond over here, you'll see that we have a bit of our shulker monster and then a bamboo farm that I was using to get all of the bamboo mosaic. And I really like the backside of this build too. Once again, I made sure to have all of the dirt outlining it, and I was going to do more except for bone meal, but I just like the awning, I would say. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And actually, one thing that I really like about this house as well is that we have a little bit of a stair ladder going up so that you can head to the top of your house, which I feel like really fits the desert theme. I feel like it really fits the vibe. And we have some crops just in case you need some last minute food here in the desert. And so yeah, I'm happy with that. And so we can head on down here, and one of my favorite things to do in any Minecraft world is to make custom ponds. Especially here in the desert, you can see how much it makes a difference in the area. We have tons of lily pads, and we have lilacs and rose bushes and some other flowers around here too. We have moss and some leaves down here, and I always make my ponds out of slabs, and I think it just gives a more, a little bit more of a noisy, I would say, pond feeling, and I think that that's not a bad thing, you know? There's so much going going on in a little pond with all of the wildlife and the seagrass and the leaves, and this is a whole little biome in itself, right? And so I kind of wanted to make it messy, and I normally do, and I think that the difference in using stone blocks for our pond right here is the contrast that this area needed, because as you can see, just so much granite and stone and that sort of thing. And so having some, even on the paths in the brown, it was nice to put in a little bit of gray there too, so we can continue on, and we have our second custom pond. And I think this is probably my second, my favorite of the two. It's a lot bigger and it's the exact same design, but I ran out of lilacs, and so I have some rose bushes and all of these bushes that we have along the entire coastline. I ended up harvesting from out and about in the desert. I actually don't think I put any leaves in this one. I considered doing it, and then I was like, nope, I think that it actually looks a little bit cleaner without the leaves for this pond. And we have some azalea bushes around the area too. And it's going to lead us overlooking our ship into our second massive beach area, which I think it just looks wonderful. We used some spruce logs for extra texture, and then once again, all of the same things. We have a little bit more clumps this time, as opposed to like a pattern, because this is a much bigger beach and I needed to make it look more realistic. So we have gravel and our moss and sand and some buttons as well. And it just looks wonderful. I wanted to make sure that we kept a couple of cactuses here every once in a while. This is definitely one of my favorite things about having transforms this entire area. And every little bit, of course, I needed to get rid of this water pool, but everything else, you can see we still have our little puddles where you can go puddle jumping and look for the sea critters, and then a nice little view of everything that we have from right here with our fence outlining the area. We have a big old wheat field right here, and then some carrots over in the distance. Then over here, I think that we have even more carrots as well. Yeah, I just needed to fill in this area. We were gonna have a build here at some point, but we just, once again, ran out of time. We have a couple of birch trees around the area, which I think adds some extra detail. But to be honest, I was kind of just having these birch trees here in order to get birch wood. And then I was like, okay, I need to finish up the area. The trees actually, I think they fit in nicely. And so making sure that the rest of the area kind of fit in with the trees, as opposed to getting rid of the trees and having to start afresh. And our path continues along this area right here that overlooks the water. And as you can see, it's just in 200 days, you can get a solid amount done, but working in the desert when it's much harder to get set up, especially at first, it takes a little bit more time. We can continue the path. This is kind of where the kingdom ends a little bit. And you can see where I got tons of work done elsewhere. We have a wood cutting farm right here, which is fun. I just wanted to put some extra water in it, and so the trees are kind of suspended, making it look a little bit more lush. And then we have our trapdoors right there, and I would just go around with my hoe and take out the trees, and then it just made it fun, and it made Replay Mod cinematics look a little bit more cool as well. I think we can continue over around here, where we have the town job board for the village of Guy. This is what I happen to name that village, and we pay in lapis. And so the idea, you have these numbers right here. These are all the builds that I was going to be making. So we have like the trading ship over there, which is done. The fishing dock over by the starting house is done. And so I would gift myself a lapis, like half a block of lapis, for finishing the fishing dock. And same thing, 2 blocks of lapis for the trading ship. And it was just a fun way to reward myself in game for getting the projects that I had created done, right? And then almost last but not least, we have a couple of farms over there. We have a pumpkin farm here. We have another pumpkin farm here. And then we have a melon farm here, which I'm really happy with. I just wanted to go with a simple theme, and I wanted to, instead of just having crops around the area, I wanted to spice it up a little bit. So having these little awnings right here really makes it nice. And then the last little thing, as the sun sets, is our storage area. This is where we started out, as you can see, tons of different materials before we moved over into the desert area. And we have Slip's Casa Slip, which is where I spent my first couple of nights. And you can see I tried to cram in all of the different storage as I could. The last thing, we have tons of cropland over here as a bunny rabbit pops off the crafting table. And you can see the ship in the background, which is really cool. So much going on in this other side of the kingdom. And you can just see what the normal village looks like versus what my village looked like. If I had more time to continue on, I think that place over in that direction would just look so cool. So that is 200 days. What I could do, you can see the dirt paths of the dirt spreading just in case I wanted to expand, but that was 200 days. And this guy here, Slip, is off to the Lotus SMP. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked what I could do in the desert and you're excited for more, consider subscribing because a lot more on the horizon. Have a wonderful day, y'all.